Afternoon. This video documentation is in regards to the E39 chassis, which is the 5 series signal sockets. I understand that some of the functions might not be working, or either or. If you have the O1 to O3, which is a facelift setup, you should only have them working as your signal lights, whereas if you have the pre-phase setup, I can understand that you have two functions, which is the parking and the signal lights. So for a facelift setup, pretty much the wire that you will be utilizing, in fact, will be the green wire instead of the blue wire. The blue wire is actually for the parking lights, whereas the green wire is for your signal lights. Again, the O1 to O3, the facelift setup, should only have the signal lights working as for the signal lights, being the case that the parking lights has been moved to your angel lights. That being said, I actually have a 12-volt power supply unit on hand that mimics the car battery. Then I'm going to go ahead and bench test it to show you the following connections. So I have the grounding negative connected, which is the yellow wire on the depot's end, to the grounding negative already, and then this is actually going to be my positive current that's going to be introduced to the signal light. So for signal light function, you could see that the brighter filament gets triggered, whereas the blue wire will be your dimmer parking light filament, as you can see. So if in the case you see the dim output triggering as your signal light, this might not be correct, as you may have tapped the incorrect wire onto the depot light, signal socket connector. So in fact, if you have on your factory end, which I remember or recall the two wires for the LCI, which is the O1 to O3 setup, brown for grounding, blue for signal light. So the blue wire in fact will tap to the green, whereas the brown wire, which is the negative, will tap to the yellow wire. Again, if you have no lights working, or in terms of signal lights working, might I ask to see if you can make sure that the connection, or you have power running through there by checking your stock setup. If your stock setup is able to power with no issues, it might be the case there might be a connectivity concern between the connector and the signal socket in itself. We actually bench test these prior to shipping them out, and we do not recommend separating the connectors from the signal socket, being the case that the pins inside here are so thin, the chance or the risk of you connecting and having the pins accidentally bending or get pushed back is very, very high. So in this situation, if you've accidentally removed this and plugged it back in, and in the case that the signal light is no longer working via contact issues, please let us know if this is the case that you're experiencing, as we might need to maneuver another RMA to get the signal lights working again for you. Again, this pretty much concludes the documentation. Thank you so much for